This is a CAD model of a portion of Building 1 at the Harvard Corporate Center in Sacramento. And it was created to demonstrate how a 3D model can be used to determine the costs to perform all the restoration work on the building and to solicit the bids to do the work. The drawing consists of multiple layers, some of which are simply drawing aids, but many are elements of work in the building. For example, there are layers for the precast concrete surface areas, the joints between the precast concrete panels and columns, the window frame perimeter joints. There's also layers for the glass, the window frame surfaces, the door surfaces, all the things that do or will eventually need restoration work. Now, the way you use the model is by selecting the layers that you don't want to quantify at the moment, or you don't want to get the information out at the moment, and turning them off, and leaving the layer that you are interested in on, and then selecting all the elements of that layer. So I've left the precast joints on, and if I select them all, I can see that there are 787 lineal feet of precast joints in the building. Now you can see them in relation to the precast concrete surfaces because I've turned that layer on. All right, now if I turn off the joints and select all of the entities on this layer, I can see that there's 13,419 lineal feet, square feet of precast concrete surface area. All right, so that can be done with all the building elements. Here you're seeing the wet seals now along with the precast concrete surfaces. Here are the wet seals in relation and adjacent to the glass. If I want to determine how many lineal feet of wet seals there are, I will just select all of these elements, and I can see that there's 2,078 lineal feet of wet seals in the portion of the building that I've modeled. Now I can combine this information with the unit costs, which I can get from contractors. So the bid process that would take advantage of this method is a little different than what's typically done, in that the bids that you seek, you solicit, are not to exceed numbers from a limited number of contractors. Rather, they are unit costs that you can ask quite a few contractors for. If you were to get not to exceed numbers, it's pretty inefficient, or rather it's a lot of work for them and for the building manager, because not to exceed numbers, when you don't know the quantities, require the contractor to obtain those quantities. He has to, for himself, review the drawings if they exist, or visit the building and take the measurements. You have to assist the contractors in that process, and it is a time-consuming and demanding operation. On the other hand, if the owner determines these quantities, then he need only seek unit costs from the contractors, and that's an easy thing for a contractor to provide. It's something that he knows instantly. So you can ask 10 contractors to bid on this job, and you can expect the majority of them to respond with very consistent responses. Now then, From that point, you select one or more of those contractors you hope to work with and give them the model, give them these quantities so that they can submit a not to exceed price and be confident in it. And you'll be confident in it also. The owner will have faith and confidence in these values. He can depend on the fact that they are accurate and consistent. Now, when you get down to the final step, wherein you negotiate with the person you want to work with, you do so with all this information in front of you. And with that, you can seek concessions for the individual work elements. So your costs, although will include an operation they don't normally include in the beginning, they'll allow you to obtain a maximized outcome. Finally, the model will be of use during the project execution. The contractor can use it for his rigging and setup work. He can use it to help him establish his production schedule. And the building manager and engineer will have this model of the building envelope for their use throughout their careers.